Hello.
Hello. Welcome back. We're here doing another set of reviews. I'm Kevin.
I'm Don.
And he reads a lot of books. And I like to pick the best of the ones that he reads so that I can read those and then skip the rest. We like to review the content so I don't have to read sex or swearing that I don't want to read. And then, how bloody it is and just how good is it. We only review the excellent ones.
8 or above.
8 or above. So 8 is good. 9 is excellent, and 10 is you definitely should read this book.
The next book is First Sorcerer by Kyle Johnson.
Okay.
This is a LitRPG series named Singularity Online, and so it has 7 books in it so far. This is LitRPG fantasy. The protagonist is Jeff. He's a programmer with a game company. The game company has put out the game named Singularity Online, and it is looking for testers to go in and beta test the system and find out how well it works. They are looking for testers that have a very high percentage connection with the computer. They're in a capsule and gel. And the higher the percentage of that they can connect with the computer, the better they'll do in the game. And he has the highest of any of the people that apply to be one of the beta testers.
How do they tell?
I can't answer that.
Just some number.
In the game, they grab a crystal, and however it lights up, that tells them how strong they are. But how they do it out of the game, I'm not sure. But this is a computer programmer. Playing in-game as a sorcerer, and he gets started in the elven lands, and the elves are really snobs, and he is only part elf, so he's a half-breed, and they don't like him, they don't want to talk to him, they don't want to look at him, they don't want to sell anything to him, they don't want to even be around him. But the head elf talks to him and says, I've got a way to find out if you're really a traveler, like you said. Travelers are players that can die and come back. And it's designed for sorcerers, so it's just what you want. He says, okay. And he goes into dungeon, is what it turns out to be, and the door locks behind him. He can't get out until he's a good enough sorcerer to be able to unlock the door. And the trial puts him, he has to do 4 different things, maybe 3 tunnels that he goes through, and each tunnel has a different challenge for him, and he has to learn certain skills before he can pass that challenge. And he dies time after time after time.
He stays locked in there the whole time?
He's staying locked in there. He's regenerating inside that room.
Okay.
That's why they say now they can tell if he's really a traveler, because anyone else that went in there would die. He passes the trial, becomes a sorcerer. He becomes First Sorcerer, because that's a category that hasn't been in this world for ages. And so he's now the First Sorcerer. But the door on the other side is unlocked now. And so he goes in to find out what's there before he goes back out. And he ends up in an elven city that has been completely destroyed by the dark. And he runs across a elven maiden that is in a cage, trapped in her own filth, being fed very little, starving her to death. And he rescues her. They become fast friends. The story is about him acting as a sorcerer in-game, and then logging out once a week to see how the real world is, and finding out what his connectivity is. And his connectivity is going up, 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 up. He's up really higher than anyone else. No one's even near him. And there are things going on in the background with the head of the company. There are things going on in the game because the AIs have taken over the game and the programmers can't do anything to it anymore. And so there's several stories happening, interweaving. It's a really good story. I only gave it an 8 because It's a good, solid book, but it has some downsides to it. The magic system is extremely complicated, and they spend so much time explaining the magic system and how many spell points he has to use to cast this spell, and whether it'll go or not, depending on checks against the people that he's casting it against. That it just loses steam every time you get into the magic.
Okay.
The good guys are a little too good, and the bad guys are a little too bad. And the protagonist always solves his problems the same way. When he can't figure out a way to overcome the problem that's going to kill him, he stops thinking about it. And his subconscious solves the problem, and he saves the day. And so with those caveats, it's a good book. There's limited use of hard profanity. There's one character in the book that uses it frequently.
Okay.
But she's not in the book very much. You only see her every 20 chapters or so.
And how about other than her?
Other than her, everyone else is pretty good. The sexuality there is sexual tension or sex implied, but not described. Violence, there's high violence, not bloody. In fact, most of the people are being killed are undead, so there's no blood at all.
Yeah.
Age is teen.
Okay. That concludes our review for today. As we are concluding, we were just discussing, let us know what you get out of this review. Are you getting anything out of it? Which parts do you like? Is there anything you'd like us to review, like content-wise, that we aren't? Any books
you would like us go toward, genres that you would rather hear? I'm heavily into fantasy, as you can tell.
So give us a like, let us know, give us some feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you.